fasting all the time because I probably was getting a wider bandwidth. People were having double periods, right? So I just was pulling in these frequencies and I didn't have any reference point. So why does this make a difference? At the time, you have to realize that when they put on this new technology, and it was causing our bodies to be disharmonious, and then eventually it didn't just affect the black birds, it affected all the birds. The bees were dying, the bees were dropping. Remember, I think in 2015, 16, the bees, we were seeing bees, the bees dropping on the floor. I mean, I remember I was in the backyard and I was wondering my bees, because I have a beautiful flower patch in the backyard, and the bees were struggling and it seemed like they were disoriented. I saw a bee and he was just going in a circle and circle, and I took him up and put him in my little fairy garden and he felt better, but I put him in a little bubble, like a little dome. And it seemed like whatever was happening frequency wise, he was being affected by it. Okay, so that being said, we're going to talk about what's happening and where the rainbow event is going to be the exit and the eviction of people out of this particular firmament earth simulation, and how the purple lights is literally being erected all over the place as a way to get you numb so that you won't understand and understand what that means to you specifically. Okay, so the other night I was made aware that the purple lights that we are seeing all over the place were being placed strategically around places. Now, I can't vet out, let me state this, I can't vet out why they're placed there, like why they're being specifically placed in certain, like sometimes you'll see in one city the purple lights will be on one street but they won't be on all the other streets, or you'll see the purple lights only set up in one area, like by an arena or by a bus stop, but they won't be anywhere else. They're being purposefully strategically placed around cities around the United States. Now, for my European family, my African diaspora family, my family from Asia, please let me know if you have the purple lights, because then I can bring in the references to the purple lights to you. But I definitely know that they're getting people used to it. And I want to thank Yafi for sharing some pictures of the purple lights that were happening in Israel at some sort of event. Also, for this event that happened with the Xi Jinping that came over here to come to his new country. Because y'all, if you didn't know, China, this is Chinese, this is China, America, okay? China, Xinhua bought this entire country, okay? Just letting you know. So when he came and he had flags and everything, everybody was upset about it. But why are you upset? Because he bought all this real estate here in the United States. Whether you accept it or not, or whether your government, your Willy Wonka told you that you are no longer in the United States of America and that you're living in China, at least half of it in China, or 75%, whatever, you know what I mean? That's on you, okay? But at the event that, konnichiwa, ni hao, ni hao, I told y'all to learn some Mandarin. Don't get mad at me because I told you what time it is. You always like to say, I got a problem with something. I'm respecting the fact that this is United States. Is not the United States anymore. It's bankrupt. They get rid of all the money out of the vaults. All your cash money is now depreciated. They giving all your money over to, they gave all the money over to the Zionists over in what is it? Ukraine, and now they're giving it to the Zionists over in Israel. Y'all, listen, we might as well say we live in the hood. I don't care how bougie your house is. You about to be reconfigured by Chinois coming to your house claiming it. It's a whole nother form of gentrification, y'all. I'm not, listen, okay, I'm gonna stop, because you guys, I'm a frog now, so I'm not racist. I can't be racist, how am I gonna be racist as a frog? I'm a trans frog. If you say anything about me, I can literally have a problem with you, okay? But I kind of went off the topic, okay? So, the other day, they literally had some purple lasers coming up from the event when Xi Jinping came to visit San Francisco, which they cleaned up. And let me just put another sidebar. I'm sorry, I gotta put another sidebar. I told you about them 50 cent, 25 cent burgers. if you wonder where the homeless people are, you need to look in your sandwiches. I hate to be the bearer of bad news or tell you things that's going to traumatize your peace of mind, but if you're still eating hamburgers, listen what they call hamburgers. And you know where pork is associated with human flesh. I'm just saying, you want to eat the 25-cent free burgers from McDonald's and all these other places. Where did the homeless people go and where did their bodies go? You should always look in the meat, because it's easy to ground up some beef that it's easy to ground up meat and not know what's in it. Just a little sidebar there, okay? They cleaned up San Francisco real quick. You had all those 10 cities. Where'd those people go? But you had a whole lot of free hamburgers, didn't you? I'm just saying. We do. What was the hamburger? How come we don't have the hamburger songs anymore? The Ronald McDonald songs. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's a soy lynch. That's a soy lent story for another time. Let me just go. Okay. So they had the purple lights, and what I was given as information is that the reason why they have the purple lights all over the place is they're trying to desensitize you, just like the rainbow. What they did with the rainbow. Now, y'all, I'm a trans frog. I don't really have a lily pad in this race. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just going to say, back in the days, the rainbow was associated with little girls. Okay? When I was a little girl, remember Rainbow Bright? I love Rainbow Bright. Remember what was it? The bears, the Care Bears, the rainbow. Remember the My Little Pony, My Little Pony, My Little Pony. Remember like My Little Pony? Remember all the rainbows? Remember Punky Brewster? Punky Brewster had a cute little thing. She was adorable, right? And she's a busty bab. Let me get a shout out to Punky Brewster, who was another busty one. Y'all always get on me, but you didn't get mad at Punky Brewster when she got some big bums, big tatas too, right? You didn't say anything to her. She was a busty one, beautiful little girl. She turned out to be a beautiful young lady, right? So remember all those rainbow references. Did you ever hear references to rainbows to males? I just want to know. Let me know. Am I off the board here? Do you ever remember them having any sort of references to rainbows and boys or little boys? Did you ever see little boys when we grew up wearing rainbow outfits, putting rainbows on their shirts? Remember remember our panties, girls? We had our little Fruit of the Looms, and they had rainbows on it. Did you ever see your baby brother wearing rainbows on his underwear, on his Fruit of the Looms? Did you ever see remember our lunch boxes? We had our little cute little lunch boxes. We have all these different, look at Rainbow Food Rocks. Rainbow Food Rocks. Did you ever see on our lunch boxes for little boys to have little rainbows on their lunch boxes? It was always associated with females, okay? Little girls. Why is it now that they took the rainbow? And mind you, y'all, they changed it. You're not going to see it. Remember, I told you about the Matrix and this simulation. All of the changes that you consider to be Mandela effects, they're updates. Nobody else says it. If they try to say that they've said it, it's the only thing that I know and created myself. So if other channels are saying it after the fact, it was me who said it, because I know it, because I'm the only one who said it. Okay, I hate when people on other channels trying to act like they brand new. Okay, I don't say that they shouldn't say it, but definitely know where it came from. Okay, it was updates. So during the updates, they took the rainbow, and not only did they take the rainbow, they inverted it. So if you try to look online, you could have initially when they first transferred it, but if you look online now, you'll see that all the rainbows are inverted. When we were younger, you'll notice that the purple was on top and the red was on the bottom. Now, and you can look in all the outfits. If you can go on eBay, because eBay is really good, you'll look at how the rainbow stuff was built. It was like the purple was on top and the red was on the bottom. Okay, they changed it when the violet is now on the bottom and the red is on top. And red is associated with the base of your chakra system. It's the fight, flight, and fornication. It's the basis, it's the root of your chakra system. Why would you invert it? Put the red on top, which is the root, and the violet on the bottom, which is the crown, and give it to a group of people and associate it with homosexuality. I'm just asking. Why would you then associate? And now when I say homosexuality, they basically gave it to that group. And not only did they give it to the group, the majority of the group that accepted it, not so much the lesbian women, which maybe they do, it was mostly gay males who were rocking the rainbow now. I'm just saying, this is facts. This is not prejudice. I can't be prejudiced because I'm a frog. I don't have a lily pad. I don't have a lily pad in this battle. I'm just noting the observation. A rainbow that was associated with little girls and females was now totally hijacked and transversed, turned inverted, and then gentrified and taken. Does it smell like like a new group colonized the rainbow? Okay, and used to associate only homosexuals. So now little girls, listen, I will go to the store and my little ones won't want to use the rainbow because they don't want to be associated as being homosexual. That is the saddest part about it. Most little girls now are afraid to go and pick out a rainbow outfit, even if it looks similar to something they would wear. They won't go and wear it because they think they're going to be labeled as homosexual. Okay? Does that sound familiar? You listen, the United Fakes and the whole, the Jesuit crew, the Knights of Templar, the Dark Kabbalist, the Willy Wonka systems, they've all they like to gentrify. They colonize everything, they invert it, and then they act like it's theirs. And then when you say anything otherwise, if you say anything about the rainbow, they'd be the first one call you you're a bigot. Oh, you're anti, what is it? You're transphobic. You're homophobic. How are you going to be homophobic if you state a fact? Like, how is that a homophobic statement when I'm stating an observation? That was little girls' thing. That was women's whole beautiful connection to the rainbow, and you totally took it, gentrified the sucker, colonized it, and inverted the symbology, and now you have only one demographics of people, which were in the 60s denoted to being mentally ill, taking on the rainbow, and nobody else could touch it. It's just like the 13. It's just like the swastika. It's just like the black cat. It's everything. They always take what's powerful, invert it, and only use it for themselves. Why is this conversation important? Believe me, I'm going to put this on my Rumble, y'all, because I already know. Because remember, YouTube called me a terrorist. So they want a terrorist conversation. We're going to have a real conversation. See, they like to have the love and lighters. They like to have the fake UFO people. They like to have the fake conscious people. Keep it just very limited. Uphold themselves to only a socially engineered conversation. But Fleur Brun is a mom. And a mom that feels okay to speak about things. And I'm a woman of a certain age. Big up to the Gen Xers in this mother freaker. Okay? So now you have this whole hijacking of the rainbow. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is important and why the purple beams are important. What happened is that I was made aware that when we're doing our exodus out of this firmament, outside of this simulation, when you're waking up in your cryo state pod, you will see the purple lights. The purple lights are indicators of where we exit. Each one of us will be led to a particular ley line, to a particular landmass, which has these purple lights that shoot up to the sky. It comes out of the ground. I don't know how it does it, but it will shoot up from the ground out into the sky. That is where we exit. What they're doing is they're hijacking it so that you are getting numb to seeing the purple lights, and that if you see it everywhere, you won't be able to recognize where you exit, stage left or right. That's why they're doing it. Why they're putting it in specific areas, I personally think that maybe they know that those purple lights may show up in that arena. So what they're doing is putting these purple lights to cloak and dagger the places that you would see your signal light to leave this firmament, this nightmare of a simulation that's about to go buck wild in this piece. Okay? And the rainbow event is the preamp to it. So what happens is that there's a lot of radiation that happens at this time, and the rainbow will show up. Just like Fukushima, and also with what happened in Chernobyl, when there was a lot of radiation, you saw multiple rainbows show up around those facilities, because the radiation causes this effect. You see it a lot of times with, like, when it rains, you'll see like this rainbow show up. A lot of you are seeing more rainbows in the sky now because they have so much nanoparticulates, and it has a reflective kind of look. And also the dome is being illuminated. So I think it's also like a Pyrex, like almost like the light showing in, and it's giving this effect of the rainbow that's showing up all over. Because a lot of times, whenever you were seeing, especially when I had the rainbow event, whenever there was a heightened amount of radiation, all of a sudden I would see rainbows all over my light fixtures. That's how I knew they were turning up the 5G. Because I was interfacing with the rainbow event, I have this new ability that whenever they turn up the frequency and they turn up the radiation, it's a unique thing that happened to me with experiencing the rainbow event. I will see rainbows on light fixtures in cars and all over the place when they turn up crank up the Shang-Chi. Okay. And what they're doing with that is they hijacked the rainbow so that you feel a certain way about the rainbow. So those who are so-called straight, and I don't even like that term because I'm a frog. I don't care. I don't have a lily pad in this conversation, but just to have this conversation with you, they hijacked the rainbow. So now if you see it anywhere, you automatically will think it's associated with homosexual people. And then when you see the purple lights, you won't be able to delineate or to distinguish between the lights that are shooting up from the floor that tell you when to go, because you're going to be driven for your exodus. You're going to get this calling inside of your belly. And also, I will tell you, there's one key per light that comes out of the ground. So during this exodus, when we get basically evicted from this holographic simulation, you have one key member that goes to each one of these purple light laser locations, and they're the person that allows for the initiation of exodus outside of the firmament. Until they show up, the people there won't be able to leave. So it's almost like there's like a Moses per location. Okay, I know for a fact I'm one. So I have to show up at my laser purple light. But again, they're purposefully putting all these purple lights so you won't be able to distinguish which one, and you wouldn't even know it, because you're being so numbed by it, and you're being purposefully shown these lights so that you won't distinguish when the lights come out of the ground coming into these locations where you're supposed to go and exit, because they know that during this time you're supposed to go to those places. And I'm going to remind everyone, whenever you have an exodus, you have to see that everyone coming into United States, they're coming in from other locations because they're doing their exodus. As much as people are doing their exodus in the United States, you're supposed to do your exodus out of the United States. Why you won't hear other YouTubers tell you to do it, why they're going to tell you to stay into the United States, is because they're part of the simulation. Most likely, they're agent Smiths. They might be NPCs. They're working for the system of the AI Smithitarians that are keeping you locked and loaded here. But do know, if you get 1 million soldier males who are coming into the United States and they're being invited, y'all, I'm just going to remind you, during the time when your holographic mask wearing fake president of mass destruction had his fake inauguration, if you remember, they had waves of these herds. Go back to the news. See, some of you forget what happened. Remember, they said these herds are on the way to the United States as soon as we were having the fake election, because they were getting invitations from their countries. They were coming in with Biden shirts, okay? They had Biden t-shirts, and when they were coming, they were basically saying his name over and over again as directed, because they were giving invitations. Why does this matter to you? Is because if you remember, when this ley line, which the United Fakes used to be another country with a lot of indigenous tribes, when they wanted to take over the United Fakes, what did they do? They didn't have the numbers. So what did they do? They went into Europe. I got homegirls who told me this with their grandparents. They got invitations in Europe saying, hey, come to the United Fakes, free land. You could come. You could start over again. You can get away from Queen Lizzie and Elizabeth and the lizard of mass destruction. And you could bring your whole family. You don't have to be under tyranny, throwing poop out the window. You could come. You don't have to worry about yellow disease, red death, black death. Okay? So you could come over. So when they came over, they weren't told that a whole bunch of indigenous were already living here. They were just given the invitation. Like the migrants. Does it smell like a similar thing with the migrants? So when they got here and they saw the indigenous, they were like, yo, we didn't know we were coming over to the United Fakes and it was going to be people living in. Oh, well, listen, don't worry about it. We're going to give you arms so that you can gentrify, just, incentivize the native savages to leave. So everyone who likes to have your gun rights, you must realize the only reason you have it is because that was part of the Constitution. It was added to the Constitution because it was a way of sanitizing the whole savages that were living over here harmonious with each other, or non, because some of them were savages too. They were buck wild too. And it was their landmass where they were living, so they could do whatever they want. But they were incentivized and given arms, and so they could sanitize and get rid of all of the disgusting, savage, bare-breasted, brown, copper, indigenous, Asiatic people here. Okay? So why do I share this? Because this is a program, y'all. I told you this is a simulation. It's always going to be the same simulation over and over again. So what are you seeing? Your fake holiday